Africa is changing. The continent has the fastest rate of urbanization in the world. We're seeing a huge influx of people moving to our cities. With the increase in population, it has also made an increase in poverty, particularly among the urban poor. And they are a people group that are slipping through the cracks. Our first introduction to the community that we're working in was through a friend that I met that begged at a street corner. And one Sunday afternoon, she invited me to her home. As the car pulled up, I thought for sure I was lost because I didn't even see any homes. I just saw this massive junkyard and just kind of some pieced together shelters. But my friend was standing there waving me in, and I realized this is where she lived. There's no clean water. There's no shelter, really. I mean, the rain pours into their homes. She lived in like a shanty, old tarps, old wood pieced together. She just flipped over this bucket. It was the seat of honor. Fed me this meal full of weevils. It was just, I felt so honored. And so I went home and I told my husband about my experiences, and I just began to weep. God just spurred something in our heart. We're like, we have to do something. Like, God's opened our eyes to the urban poor and we can't ignore it.
I think oftentimes we kind of think of, hey, put your trust in Jesus and down the road, you'll eventually be in heaven and everything will be good. But part of the dignity piece is seeing God's kingdom established here and now. Jesus did this thing. He was genuinely concerned for the spiritual and the physical needs of people. And that's what we're about. We wanted to just gather together and talk about the needs and the solution to those needs. We drive up and they've got a big tent set up with a bunch of chairs everywhere, and they invited, I think, the whole community there. With the village chief, but with the community leaders as well, we helped identify some of the needs. The biggest one was healthcare, and that led us into the malnutrition program.
We were able to partner with our Dutch Alliance doctor. We had partnerships with local believers that would come in and every week would facilitate this nutrition program. The community provided the building, the community provided the porridge for the moms and the babies, and we just saw great success. They were so excited about it. We started with just a couple volunteers, and by the end we had too many volunteers coming. Within 6 months, all the kids that were malnourished had reached their target weights. We sat down again and said, what's another need that you guys identify? They identified education. So we began a tutoring program.
We get to partner with the Senegalese church, and the tutors that are part of our program, they're all from our local church, and they are having an influence.
It's the moms that are super engaged in their children's education. Just in getting to know all these moms, we realized most of them have never had an opportunity to go to school. They can't read and write. We said to them, would you guys want to learn how to read and write? And we're going to have almost 30 women coming regularly for literacy classes. It is beautiful. We started with, how do you hold a pen? They were tracing the alphabet upside down. These are things that these women have never been able to do, but they're just so excited that they've been given the opportunity to write their name. It's giving these women dignity that they've never had before.
One thing that we have just had the privilege of doing is building relationships in the community. At the end of the day, the motivation for us is the love of Christ. We definitely want to see a church, a body of believers established in our communities, and that's only going to happen if we're present, if we're there, if we're dedicated to that work.
You have to be present. You have to have time before that kind of trust develops. We've had a lot of people that I would say are on a journey to Jesus, and it's just a slow process of representing Jesus, being an ambassador for him in this community, speaking truth. The most life-giving piece of my day is when I go out and visit my friends. It's just so fun to sit down and hear their stories and accept their friendship. It's just a privilege to say, God cares about your conditions. He cares about what you're going through.
The work is slow. It takes time. I might be the first person that they see Jesus in, or I might be the 30th or the 50th, and I'm hoping that we're pointing people in the right direction.
They're our neighbors. You know, we're supposed to love our neighbors, right?
These are the people that he's placed in front of us, and we can't ignore them.
I want to see change. I want to see transformation. I want my friends who are struggling now, who are lonely and feeling overwhelmed and feeling hopeless, to experience hope, to understand that someone knows their story, cares about their story, and can change their story.